What's up, everybody? Welcome to the ReTek News Show number 1. I'm here with Reaper 501 or Chimp Flipper Jr. I don't know which one he goes by nowadays, but I'm here with him right now.
I think it's officially Chimp on the website now. So
It's officially Chimp on the website. Well, your Twitter still says Reaper 501, so you
shoot.
may need to change that.
I need to get my rebranding worked out.
Yeah, we'll get that updated though. No worries. All right, so what have you been playing?
Well, I've been digging into that Hitman that came out last Friday. It's more Hitman, which is not necessarily a bad thing. They took the formula from, was it 2016 is when quote unquote first Hitman came out. And took that and just ran with it. Added more maps, more targets, a couple new features. So in the old one, stuff like mirrors and stuff didn't really do anything, so you could just walk up behind somebody, they wouldn't know you were there. Now you have to be more conscious of reflections and things like that, but other than that, it's basically the same game, but it's still a ton of fun.
What is so different about it from the first one, other than it not being released in episodes like the last one?
Just more... like I said, other than that, it's the same game. Which is actually kind of surprising that they decided to put out a full second release of it, because this doesn't really justify a whole new sequel necessarily. Like, they could have very well have just taken the Hitman executable or whatever and just released more maps into it. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure why they decided to release a full in the game. It might have something to do with IO becoming independent from Square Enix. I'm sure that had something to do with it. But...
So they are officially independent now.
Correct. Yeah. Square Enix dropped them last year. Which, in light of recent Square Enix releases, not sure that was the best choice. But somebody there had some ideas and they decided to go with it. So
what do you mean by that?
Well, some people may or may not have heard of a game called The Quiet Man, which came out last Friday as well, and that is published by Square Enix.
So, yeah, they picked up that developer too, and dropped IO Entertainment, and that game has been a complete shit show so far.
A beautiful shit show.
Graphically, yes.
No, not quite, not graphically, but it has its moments. It's special, something special.
It's something, all right. I would prefer they had stuck with Hitman 2. They might have came out better on top.
Or worse. Who knows? I actually think with how much Hitman 1, Hitman 2016. Blew up, I actually wouldn't be surprised if Square Enix were to take a more direct role in the development of that game, and it might have been for the worse. So maybe IO going out on their own was the best thing.
Maybe, except for they probably lost a little bit of budget.
Maybe.
But who knows?
Like I said, it's more Hitman. Yeah, I've only played the first 2 maps right now. Well, I finished the first map, and then I'm going through the second one, which has super cocaine on it.
Super cocaine.
Yeah, so the second map, excuse me, takes place in Colombia, and you're basically infiltrating a drug cartel, and one of the drug lords is developing super cocaine, and that's just what it's called. I haven't uncovered the secrets of the super cocaine yet.
Is it a hell of a drug? Is it a hell of a drug?
It is a hell of a drug.
So literally super cocaine. Like, is it just more potent, more powerful?
Like I said, I haven't gotten that far. I'm sure I will learn more about it when I dress up as a hippie or go undercover as a hippie, and I assume that's how you assassinate one of the targets.
So how many missions were there in the first one? Six?
I want to say 6. Yeah,
So how many are there in this one?
I believe it's 6 more.
So it is essentially the same game, just different maps.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people were before this was actually announced at E3. A lot of people were dubbing the next installment Hitman Season 2, because most people, with how they rolled out Hitman 1, most people thought they were just gonna, you know, keep on basically the same schedule they had been going with, just every couple months put out a new map. But yeah, then they decided to just do a full new release.
I think the way they released the first one has kind of thrown me off the series.
Really?
Like I didn't really want to play it, put it down for like another 3 or 4 weeks, pick it back up, put it back down, put it down for another 3 or 4 weeks, and then just keep repeating that whole process.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's threw me off the entire series, actually, from the get-go. As soon as I heard that they were releasing episodically, I think I was pretty much off.
Well, I never actually really played Hitman before 2016. I got in it because I actually had the same thinking. It's like, yeah, I don't want to wait months to play a new map. But once I bought season 1, I just kind of ran through all the maps. I was like, well, I kind of wish I had more of a reason to stick with these maps, because there's so much to do, there's so much to explore. There's so many challenges and different ways to go about killing the targets, that having that space between releases really lets you explore the maps and stuff like that. So, I mean, there's good and bad sides to both, I'm sure.
I think the sandbox type environment is kind of good for the series, though.
Definitely, yeah.
I was watching you play it on your stream the other day, and the amount of different ways that you could kill somebody was quite interesting.
Yeah, and and they're not weapons you would expect. Guns are actually the worst weapon in this entire game. I found that the most formidable weapon is a soda can to the head. If you want to incapacitate, if you want to kill, then a good old pair of scissors, a screwdriver works too.
A soda can, not a brick or anything else, just a soda can to the head.
I mean, I'll take a brick if I need to, but you know.
Soda can to the head. Yeah. Death by pop. Well, I think I'll have to try it out one of these days.
Yeah, actually, if you get in there ASAP, so Hitman 2016 introduced this concept called Elusive Targets, which are basically limited time, I think 48 hours in real time, availability of a specific target. You can't find them on the map. You have to watch the intro video to figure out where they are and their route. And there's no save states. You get one shot at it, and if you fail, you're done. And one of the targets in season 1, they actually had the community choose between I can't remember Ricky Bobby's dad in Talladega Nights. Can't remember the actor's name. And Gary Busey was the other. Gary Cole and Gary Busey were the 2 targets. So they had people choose between, and Gary Busey ended up winning. So you got to assassinate him.
Is it bad that I don't remember? I don't know who any of those guys are.
That's all right.
I don't know who either one
I
of
couldn't
them
remember
are.
Gary Cole's name.
It's been so long since I saw Talladega Nights. It's been a couple
so the
years.
first elusive target for season 2 is going to be none other than Sean Bean. From
is he going to turn evil after he gets close to the ring?
Probably. I guarantee there will be a Lord of the Rings reference. I'm sure they will add references to every single thing he's been in this target, because he's famous for being killed.
So he's not the first elusive target. He's the second one.
No, he is.
Oh, so he's
Gary
the first
Cole
one.
and Gary Busey was season 1. That was like the celebrity thing for season 1. And there's how you open with that this time around. So that opens up I believe Saturday. So
Saturday.
Yes. So I'll probably be taking a whack at that.
So everybody listening and in Twitch chat right now, this weekend you can pick up Hitman 2 and basically kill Sean Bean.
Yep.
Just so you know. All right. Well, I've been playing, one of this big shooter called Battlefield 5.
Battlefield. I think I've heard
Battlefield 5. What?
I think I've heard of Battlefield.
You've heard of Battlefield?
I think so. Yeah.
Well, they came out with this new game. Actually, it's not even officially released yet. It doesn't release until Friday.
Friday. Yep.
Friday
yeah, it
for
goes live Friday for everyone else, and then Premiere and Deluxe Edition people got it last Friday.
No, I think Deluxe Edition gets this Friday,
right.
and everybody else
You're
gets
right.
the 20th.
Yeah, I forgot they decided to do 3 release dates this time around.
Yeah, they haven't.
Yeah.
But this game is improvement over Battlefield 1, I would say.
I agree.
I think that Battlefield 1 there was just something wrong with Battlefield 1. I think it was maybe the weapons. They were trying to do, the old school weapons aren't that great. Just kind of ruined the gameplay. But this feels smooth, and it feels like it's faster paced than Battlefield 1. I'm having a great time with it. I think it's a great step in the right direction for the series, honestly.
We played the beta. Did we play the beta together? I don't remember.
I did not play the beta.
Okay, but we played the premiere section last weekend, and yeah, totally. The movement feels way better. A lot more tactical. You can crouch sprint.
Yeah, that's helpful. That's helpful. A lot of the maps have
everything about it feels
berms and other things you can run around, and crouch running is amazing.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a step in the right direction.
But I mean, even the maps are just better. Like, there's only 2 maps I've played so far that I just don't really dislike. And it's only because there's big, wide open areas that snipers just feast on everybody.
Sure. Yeah.
But other than
that, from the beta, I actually prefer some of the more close quarters maps. Like, I think one of the maps in the beta, was, I can't remember the name of the city. It was some city, and yeah, just like being able to navigate through these corridors, really effectively use things like smoke grenades, and I'm sure there's incendiary grenades also.
yeah, there is.
Yeah, just opening up more options for movement was really nice and really refreshing.
Yeah, and even the weapons. I mean, I haven't found a single weapon that I dislike, really. There's only 1 or 2 weapons in all of Battlefield 1 that I actually liked. And this one, I have yet to find one that I dislike. It really helps with the gameplay. And, I mean, that mixed with the maps. I mean, we played that one map with the bridge that's crashed down in the middle. It looks like I don't know. It looks like fucking
Some
Normandy.
European city.
Yeah. I mean, it's a fantastic map to play on. It's so much fun. Just going in between the little outskirt towns and dealing with the tanks and then getting onto the bridge, close quarters combat. I mean, it's so much fun. I mean, I haven't had this much fun in Battlefield since Battlefield 4. I mean, even the beginning of Battlefield 4.
Besides like maps and stuff, I would almost say they've completely overhauled the Battlefield formula. There's, I can't remember what they're called, but the specializations for each class. That kind of like I want to say Assault can specialize in anti-tank stuff. So I can't remember all of the actual perks, but it's stuff like, you do more damage to tanks, probably get more rockets, things like that. That really let you, make your character your own and different from everyone else's, which is neat.
I mean, they pretty much redid the whole formula. They redid the gameplay. I mean, I like how the customization is now. You can customize each part of the weapon instead of, just a general weapon skin.
Yeah.
Even though I really haven't unlocked too much.
I haven't really found any skins that are, super.
But you can see what they're trying to do. They're trying to allow you to be able to play however you want and customize however you want. I think
totally.
I think it's really working out well for the series, but we'll see what they do with this Tides of War. I'm really hoping they add some American stuff.
Yeah, so am I correct in thinking that Tides of War is basically like their content rollout strategy?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, I remember when they first announced that stuff, it was unclear if that was like a in-game like multiplayer campaign thing, kind of like the Grand Operations from Battlefield 1. But it sounds like it's just their overall strategy of how they're going to roll out DLC and probably tie it in with some kind of story stuff of some kind, I assume,
Yeah, it's how they're
or some justification.
it's how they're rolling out their content with the maps. They're trying to keep it in order with World War II. So like right now, all the maps are supposedly towards the beginning of World War II,
Mm-hmm.
and then throughout the Tides of War series, it's supposed to be releasing out maps in 1941, 42, 43, and then the end of the war will be the last of the maps.
Okay.
I'm just really hoping they add there's no American weapons or anything other than the Tommy gun in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And, a lot of people that are going to be playing this game really want those weapons. The BAR, the Browning Automatic Rifle, the M1 Garand, the Springfield 1903, the Grease Gun. People are going to want that content. I really hope they come out with it. I also hope they come out with some Pacific Theater maps.
I'm sure they will.
But I haven't heard anything about it. All I've heard is Europe this, Africa. I mean...
Yeah, so yeah, their first expansion coming out is called Fall of Europe. So yeah, more Europe stuff. And they're gonna have special events all throughout. But yeah, they haven't really said anything beyond that. But I'm sure they're gonna add Russia. Yeah, because I mean, right now it's just Germany and Britain, right? I mean, I haven't played on all of the maps, but on all the maps that I had played on, it was either Germans or British were the two factions that you played as.
Yeah, there's just Germans and Britain right now. As far as I know, there might be like snippets of other fractions, but as far as I know, it's just German and Britain.
Right.
A few moments later.
All right, sorry about that. Technical difficulties. It's our first show.
Hiccup. First time out.
Yeah, it'll be all right. All right, so you want to move into BlizzCon. I know you are a Blizzard fanboy. And you covered BlizzCon for us, so you have a laundry list of things you want to go over. So
yeah, so
we can start.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff, we posted in articles on the website. But just a quick rundown. Actually, I'll start off with Overwatch. We got a new hero for Overwatch, Ashe. She is a cowgirl, kind of a counterpart to McCree.
Yeah, the dueler.
Yes, very much so. Yeah, so like the little backstory we got a little cinematic. And basically she grew up, she came from a lot of money, a lot of wealth. Her parents kind of weren't around, and she ended up meeting McCree, who showed her like, hey, we can try out this crime thing. And then they started a gang together, and she just kind of rose up through the ranks while McCree kind of went his own way. But yeah, even though she's also kind of the same style or same, quote unquote genre of character, she's actually very different from McCree. I got a chance to try it out a little bit today. So she has a lever action rifle, which can either be, fired in quick succession or scoped in. Not quite like Widowmaker's sniper rifle, but still pretty powerful. I think I was getting maybe 3 hit kills or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then one of her abilities is a coach gun, a little sawed-off shotgun. It can basically use to push your opponent away. You kind of bounce away from each other, kind of put some distance between you, and then you can kind of zoom in and go for that headshot. But I think, well, besides her ultimate, which we'll get to in a second, I think her most useful ability is her dynamite, actually.
Dynamite, like the explosive dynamite?
Yeah. So she like pulls out a block of dynamite and chucks it. And this thing is pretty nasty. So it has a fuse. I don't know. I want to say it's like maybe 6 seconds or something like that. Or you can shoot it and detonate it early. But from what I could tell, it passes through all barriers and shields like Reinhardt and Brigitte. And it also has a damage over time effect after it explodes. So I actually got a couple clips today where I was just kind of around a corner, threw it, detonate it, and then got an initial explosion, and then just kind of backed away and got 2 kills off of it. And
No,
actually, it only has a 5-second cooldown. So I actually found myself just randomly throwing it a lot just to block off payload routes.
Yeah, it'd be good. That'd be good for protecting protecting objectives. I have to ask. I have to ask a question.
Cool.
Is Bob as cool as he sounds?
Yes, I'm gonna say yes. I had to think about it for a second because it's an ultimate, so you don't really get a lot of time with it in a lot of games. But yeah, no, it's definitely interesting. Yeah, so when you call him in, he'll kind of zoom in from off screen and then kind of shoulder charge until he hits either a wall or a target. Then he'll just kind of stop there and just start shooting enemies kind of like a turret. And he has health and everything. He can be killed by other heroes. But yeah, it's definitely a cool little thing that they decided to make basically another hero as an ultimate. But yeah, it's really cool. It's really unique.
So he just rushes. So he rushes from the off screen.
Yeah. So you just call him in, and whichever way you're looking, that's the direction he'll go.
That's such an odd. That's such an odd change to the game because you have the dragon, basically the gunslinger.
A lot of them are like clearly activated abilities or like extensions of a character, whereas this is just calling in basically another hero.
That's actually extremely interesting.
Yeah, it's extremely unique. And during the press conference, they kind of talked about their process of, resource management and seeing if this was even possible for them to do. Because, normally it's been a 6v6 game, and now all of a sudden you have a whole nother character in there full of animation and effects and everything. So, yeah.
Yeah, though he's only an ult, so he's not in there, too often. But yeah, I could see how that would cause issues.
In my match, each team did have an Ashe, so there were a couple times there were 2 Bobs on screen. But everything seemed to work fine, so they figured it out somehow.
She is 39, and she's a gang leader from Arizona.
Okay.
Her full name is Elizabeth Caledonia Calamity Ashe.
I like it.
That's extremely interesting. I'm interested to actually get back into Overwatch and try her out just for Bob.
Yeah, she's really fun. Yeah, I could definitely see me sticking with her more. Overall, patch was also released today. They, obviously added her.
Yeah.
Just with a couple of minor fixes. But yeah, she's definitely interesting. It'll be interesting to see, how they tweak her abilities and everything. Because I could definitely see that Dynamite getting something done to it.
I feel like that could be a little overpowered with the short cooldown. I feel like that could be an issue.
Extremely short, yeah. Like you said, it was 5 seconds after. I want to say even after you throw it, maybe not even after detonation. So I was basically during payload mission, I was basically just spamming Dynamite a lot of the time, even if I wasn't sure I was going to actually hit anybody with it, but just to block off routes and stuff. So yeah, I can definitely see them increasing the cooldown on that.
So Ashe is the only big thing from BlizzCon for Overwatch, right?
Yeah, that's about it. They usually don't have, they usually only have 1 or 2 things per game. And for Overwatch, considering what it is, a new hero is probably the biggest thing you got. They're not going to announce an Overwatch 2 or anything like that.
Right.
But yeah, a new character. And actually, one thing that probably made this more surprising is usually they tease their heroes leading up to their announcements. Like Sombra had a whole thing going on for months before she was officially announced. Whereas, this it was actually started out as people probably just assumed it was just a McCree cinematic, but then afterwards, Jeff Kaplan came out and he was like, "Surprise! We have a new hero named Ashe." So, yeah,
I actually didn't see that clip, so I'm sure people went freaking nuts. The Overwatch community is very passionate about their game.
Yeah, and he went a little bit more over their Actually, didn't really go in depth about it, but he mentioned their Overwatch League, global Overwatch League, which has been going on, which they'll probably be expanding here soon to more countries, or cities rather.
So have you paid attention to any of the Overwatch esports?
Not really. However, I've been wanting to get back into it, so I might start digging into that a little bit more.
Yeah. Alrighty. So what's next? What's the next big announcement?
Just a couple little things here and there. Heroes of the Storm, another new character announcement, and then they focused a lot on balance patch stuff. But yeah, they announced Orphea, which is a new hero for Heroes of the Storm. She's kind of unique in that she doesn't come from any other Blizzard property. She's the first one that was made specifically with the Heroes of the Storm lore in mind. I'm not super up on my Heroes of the Storm lore, but she basically is I want to say like a necromancer type character that calls upon dark forces to attack her enemies. Yeah, so they showed some gameplay of her. If you had the virtual ticket, you got her for free. So there's that. But yeah, that was really the main stuff to come out for Heroes of the Storm.
I've never played Heroes of the Storm. Is that bad?
I played it a little bit. I had never played a MOBA before Heroes of the Storm, and honestly, I think the only reason why I got into it was because it was Blizzard.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I can see that since you're such a fanboy. But yeah, I've never played it. Never played it.
It's definitely different.
Starcraft 2, anything good there?
Well, considering Starcraft 2 as a property is going on probably 6 years old at this point, if not more.
It was released in 2010, so 8 years.
Okay, yeah. And I think Legacy of Void came out 2014 or something like that, 2015, 2016. I don't know. It's been a while. Yeah, they're just releasing more, small content updates for that. I didn't realize this, but they've started putting out these things called war chests, which are, you just buy these things, and from what I can tell, they're not like loot boxes. It's not necessarily random, but you get a bunch of skins and stuff for characters. Some of them. So in the second expansion, Heart of the Swarm, the Zerg expansion.
A few moments later.
So what were we talking about? I think we were talking about StarCraft 2 and their war chests.
StarCraft 2. Yeah, new skins. Skins are cool. People like skins. And they're adding building skins now.
I gotta stop you again. Hold on 1 second. LabTech Gamer in chat says, "Look at Reaper getting swollen in the arms."
I try.
All right. Anyway, sorry. Back to StarCraft 2. They're getting their war chests.
Yeah, skins. You get more skins. Skins are cool. They're adding basically skins that have been included in the campaign and stuff like that. You can now play as those different factions. And they're adding full building skins now, so all your buildings look different.
So
Zero Tool. What's that?
They're adding skins to the building and the people. Are skins big in MOBAs?
This is an RTS.
Oh,
yes,
that's right. We were talking about
big in
You're
MOBAs.
right. Yeah.
Skins are always big.
Even in RTSs, huh?
Sure. I mean,
the guys are about the size of my pinky, on screen. I can't imagine
bigger than that.
I mean, you can zoom in obviously, but I don't know. I just can't picture
StarCraft is a lot bigger.
Being an FPS gamer, I can't picture skins being big in an RTS. But I guess it's possible.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So other than that, Zero Tool, the famous Protoss stalker. No, not stalker. Dark Templar. Sorry, it's been a while since I've played StarCraft. Is coming to their co-op mode as a new commander. Basically, their co-op mode is each player picks a commander that's a character from the story, and then basically does a mission together. So Zero Tool's coming to that.
Interesting.
Yeah, which I actually haven't tried that co-op stuff yet. Seems
I didn't
interesting.
know. I didn't know
I've also
StarCraft 2 had co-op.
Yeah, they added it. I want to say 2 years ago, something like that. It's been out for a while now. Yeah, basically to give some people something who aren't into the whole competitive scene, something more to do after they finish the campaign. So
Yeah, my first and only experience with StarCraft 2, I played online.
against me, we played
No,
once.
we played.
Well, we played once.
I must not have counted that or don't remember that. But my first experience, I played it against some random person, and I don't think I lasted more than 20 seconds, and I had dudes swarming all over my base.
I'm terrible
and
at it.
I never looked back.
It's another one of those games that I wish I was good at, but
Yeah,
I
I
don't
mean,
think it's in the cards.
have you ever watched the Twitch streamers that play
It's
StarCraft?
nuts. I've watched pros play StarCraft. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, their reactions and clicking speeds are insane. I can't ever try.
Up.
Yeah, no thanks. I'll stick to my first person shooters, RTSers. Not competitive RTSs. Like I can do Battle for Middle Earth, that was chill.
Sure.
But I can't do the competitive RTSs. Yeah. All right, so Hearthstone, I heard that there's a new expansion coming
out. There is coming out December 4th. So yeah, here Hearthstone is Hearthstone's a card game, collectible card game, and they've taken on the traditional release structure of things like Magic the Gathering and stuff like that. So once every year they'll have 3 or 4 sets that come out that are the competitive sets. Then old ones rotate out. So this is going to be the last expansion for this year. And then when the first expansion launched in 2019, the 2016 sets will rotate out. And then they'll just keep doing that. This one, it's called Rastakon's Rumble. And I think the idea for this kind of came around from the latest expansion. It's a troll theme, and I'm pretty sure Rastakon is the king in the new expansion that you meet as Horde. That's a different game. So yeah, this is set in Stranglethorn Vale, which is a jungle troll area, and it's set up kind of like a gladiator theme. And basically has a bunch of cards themed around the troll gods called Loas. Each class gets a specific animal god that's a legendary card. The super rare cards, they're extremely powerful. So each class gets a specific one of those. Something else they're adding, which is pretty unique actually, is excuse me, board wide buff cards. They're spirits of these Loas, which basically give a buff to all your cards on the field. Like one example was you play it. There's 0/3 creatures, so 0 attacks, 3 health.
Right.
And basically, as long as it's on the field, all of your minions get a battle cry ability, which basically is ability that activates when you play them. So yeah, there's a lot of ways because there's other cards that benefit from specific keywords like battle cry, where like if you play a battle cry when something else happens. So this kind of gives you a little more flexibility in the kind of cards you have, or the kind of cards you can use, as opposed to just what you have available to you. So
now
yeah,
this is coming to mobile version too, right?
Yes, everything in Hearthstone comes day and date to both PC and mobile.
Good, because I enjoy Hearthstone on the phone.
I actually have played it way more on the phone than I have on PC.
Yeah.
They made their interface extremely good on mobile.
Yeah, absolutely. And card games are perfect for mobile phone. I have more fun than any other type of game on the phone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's the card stuff. And then it used to be kind of an on and off thing, but now they've started to do it every expansion. They're adding a new single player experience for this one called the Rumble Run. which sounds like it's basically a tournament type thing, where you pick a class and then you fight for your team, which your team consists of everybody of the same class, and you go through and defeat opponents. I'm sure there'll be themed bosses and stuff like that. So it'll be cool to see what they do with that.
Yeah. Do they currently already have a single player experience?
There are many single player experiences. I think the first one they did. Well, they started out with basically just raid type experiences where we're just like basically boss rushes, where you just play different bosses who always played the same cards in the same order, and it was kind of a puzzle in that way. But they more recently have started doing more story driven or like um themed single player experiences. The most recent one was the Boomsday Project, which I wrote something about a while ago, which is heavily puzzle based. You start out with a certain amount of creatures and certain types of creatures on both sides of the board, and you have some goal like clear the board of all minions or heal up all the way or something like that. Which let you kind of see how different cards can combo together, which is actually a really good learning experience for people that are trying to get more into the competitive side.
For sure.
But yeah, they have I think 5 different single player experiences now, so there's a lot of content for people even if they aren't into competitive Hearthstone.
Well, that's good because that'll probably get a lot of people into the competitive end of Hearthstone. So once they actually learn the game, take the time and learn the game through the single player experiences and the puzzles. Yeah. But I want to talk about the big announcement from BlizzCon.
The big one or the other big one?
Sorry, the big disappointment from BlizzCon.
Okay.
I want to cover this.
All right.
And I know you have. I know you were very, very. How do I want to word this? You're very strong voiced about this.
I have my opinion.
So basically, Diablo fans were expecting a Diablo 4 announcement, even though Blizzard came out straight up and said we're not gonna announce Diablo 4. Mm-hmm. So instead, they announced a mobile version.
Yeah.
Which, in all honesty, doesn't look all that bad. But some fans have taken it.
It looks like Diablo.
Some fans have taken the hate to a whole new level that I've never seen before in a video game, at least that I can think of.
Yeah, the fervor around this announcement was pretty extreme, I would say.
I don't think I've ever seen this much hate for a single game in my life.
I mean, I'm sure there's something somewhere, but at least nothing that I personally have been invested. This is the first time it's happened to a game that I was personally invested in.
I've never seen a trailer get 415,000 dislikes.
Was it maybe not that many, but I can't remember which one it was, or maybe it was the opposite. But Battlefield, remember when I think it was when Battlefield 1 was announced. I think Call of Duty got a super large amount of dislikes, or Battlefield got a super large amount of likes. It was one way or the other, but I remember that was a thing when Battlefield 1 was announced.
I don't remember that. Maybe you might be right. I do remember some kind of controversy between the two of them back in the day, but
I want to say it was like the Black Ops 3 trailer.
But I feel like this is a whole new level of ridiculousness, especially from especially from the people in attendance.
So they announced after their opening ceremony, where they kind of went over everything they had to offer, they ended the opening ceremony with this Diablo Immortal announcement, which, I mean, during the opening ceremony, the reception was relatively good. I mean, people were cheering, people seemed happy. Obviously, I'm sure they were disappointed. People want Diablo 4. But
which is understandable, but
sure. Yeah. I mean, I want Diablo 4. I love Diablo 4. But then when they started their game focused press conferences, they started with Diablo. immediately after the opening ceremony. And again, I mean, from what I could tell, at least, the reception was, again, not terrible. I mean, people weren't like, Diablo Immortal, but I mean, maybe they were like that in the opposite direction. But
It was
yeah,
all
but
the
then
guys
they
off
got,
camera that were actually excited. This is all a big ruse.
yeah, sure. But yeah, but then the Q&A, they had a Q&A, for people to ask questions, and most people were actually, things that I wanted to know, like, would there be a hardcore mode? How much customization would there be, etc. But then there's one guy decided to come up in the middle of their Q&A section and ask these devs if it was an early April Fool's joke,
Yeah, I saw
which
that.
I understand the sentiment, but I'm not sure that that is something that you should do on a nationally broadcasted press conference for a team who I'm sure has been, pouring their hearts and souls into this thing for who knows how long.
Oh,
And I should also make it
absolutely.
clear, a lot of people assume, people that aren't, super into Diablo, a lot of people assume that, oh, this means that they're not working on Diablo 4. All these people are taking resources away from Diablo 4. That's not the
No.
case. This is a completely separate team. Blizzard has a lot of employees. They have multiple projects going on for any given game. Diablo 4 is still being worked on. These two properties are completely unrelated. But yeah, so like to basically go up and, trash this game that no one's even played. I mean, people on the floor had been playing it for a little bit. Because
Which I
they
saw
had
a lot
demos.
of people saying that the game was quote unquote shit who were playing it on the floor.
Well,
But that
was you have to ask.
Emotions were
wonder if
high.
That was before or after. Yeah, sure.
emotions were high. It may not be actual shit. We'll actually have to wait and see when it comes out, when it's fully done and released, if they have polished it, if they've optimized it. I mean, it was what? It was an alpha status at BlizzCon or beta, something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, and emotions were high. People were very hyped up, trying to get likes on Twitter. So I'm not banking on it being shit. I don't think that Blizzard would release a unoptimized or very unpopular game.
To be fair, this is a bit different, but I mean, excuse me. People raised their eyebrows when they announced Overwatch. Blizzard was traditionally a strategy and MMO company at the time. I mean, even Hearthstone, and MOBAs, Heroes of the Storm, Hearthstone. Blizzard takes risks. And yes, I am a total Blizzard fanboy. I will admit it, but I think I have a good reason. They have yet to put out something that I did not like. I like some things better than others. MOBAs aren't really my thing, but I still appreciate what it is.
Here's my thing.
Yeah.
If I may for a second. I'm not a Blizzard fanboy. I'm okay with Blizzard games. I'm not a huge fanboy. I don't play them a lot.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a single bad game that they've actually released. They're just not my style of games.
Sure. Yeah. Total. Yeah. Exactly.
I like World of Warcraft. I can play World of Warcraft. That's probably my favorite. Yeah. But Overwatch is not my type of shooter. Here's the Storms that don't play too many MOBAs, don't play too many RTSs. But none of their games are bad or unoptimized or anything like that. They are all very solid games.
They're very good at making games. They make sure that, they put polish into everything they do.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, every single year they put out tons of cinematics it's primarily World of Warcraft is mainly what are getting cinematics, but I mean, even the Overwatch cinematics now, they just have an unbelievable amount of production value. And it's very clear that, when Mike Morhaime got up there, every year and, did his keynote speech, it's very clear that all these people love all these games and they want to do a good job.
And all they're doing is trying to reach more fans. There's a lot of fans that can't afford a PC to play Diablo. So all they're doing is trying to build their brand.
Yeah. So they'll, and like I said, it looks like Diablo there's a couple there might be less characters or less enemies on screen, but other than that, if you put that and Diablo 3 side by side, it would be kind of hard to tell the difference other than, graphics, obviously.
Yeah.
And it's original. Like, it's not like they just, remade Diablo 3 again, which, they put out Diablo 3 on Switch and no one really raises think about that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't.
But yeah.
Like I said, I'm gonna hold off. I'm gonna review it when it finally comes out and form my own opinion. I'm not gonna form. I'm not gonna form my opinion based on a bunch of people that were maybe upset at the announcement of the game. Besides, I'm not even sure what hardware it was running on. I mean, there's gonna be new phones, a whole new generation or two phones out before it even releases.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna hold my breath too much, but I mean, I'm gonna withhold judgment on it until it's finally officially released. I'll play it. I will probably play it though. Is there anything else for BlizzCon you wanna talk about before we
go? Well, there's a whole bunch of World of Warcraft stuff.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, this little game that's been going on for 13 years now, 14 years.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, so I mean, they kind of rehashed a lot of the 8.1 patch stuff, which, if you want to learn more about that, you can go ahead and read our article on the website. Oh yeah, Ian Hazakasa went up and kind of went over all that again. But then they actually went a step further into 8.2, which would be their next big content patch, which is going to basically take the story to Ashara, which is like an underwater city of the Naga, which are like these serpent creatures. So yeah, they're gonna have a whole storyline down there. It's unclear if I would assume Horde and Alliance are still gonna be separate because tension's a little high between the two right now. But yeah, so each faction is gonna have their own quest down there. They're gonna add mounts, battle pets, a new raid, which ends with facing Queen Ashar herself.
Ooh.
Yeah, which she was in Legion a little bit. We got a little bit of her there. The main story is gonna be continuing. We got a little cinematic at BlizzCon showing High Lord Sourfang, who at the end of kind of the opening story beats of Battle for Azeroth, he decided to defect, not quite defect, but refused to kill King Anduin. So he was imprisoned by the Alliance, and now Anduin's like, hey, maybe we should team up to take out Sylvanas, because she's not that great. She's kind of mean. I still like her. But so yeah, just a bunch of new content, as always with their big patches. They didn't say when that was gonna be released. But 8.1 Tides of Vengeance will be coming out December 11th. So I would expect 8.2 to be maybe February or March, maybe of next year.
Yeah.
So
now, how often do they usually release? Every 2 or 3 months, right? Their patches or updates.
It
depends, but usually
their big content updates are 4 months or so, maybe between patches, and then intermittent ones here and there. The intermittent patch is going to add actually 8.15. Did I say 8.1.5? Yeah. Is going to add finally the trolls that you ally with as Horde and the humans that you ally with as Alliance as new races, basically. So that'll give some people some new races to play with. But yeah, a whole lot of information.
It's gonna give me a whole bunch of new races to not play because I'm only played as human ever.
Well, now you can play as a different human.
I'm such a noob. I'm such a noob. World of Warcraft noob.
But yeah, so yeah, we'll cover 8.2 more when it, obviously when you get more information about it.
Right. Yeah. I will defer to you, the World of Warcraft god. But I will for sure play it and probably stream it on my channel.
But yeah, I think yeah, that's about it for BlizzCon. Big
Vanilla
year as
WoW.
always. Yeah. So we'll see y'all next year.
Did we talk about Vanilla WoW?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, so they announced a soft release date for their WoW Classic, which I did not get a chance to jump into it that much. I played a little bit of it. But it's old WoW, for better or worse.
That may not be exciting to you, but being a WoW, I just got into WoW 10 months ago.
Something like that.
Being somebody that just got into WoW after all these years, this is exciting to me because I can experience what a lot of veteran WoW players experienced back in the day that I just missed out on.
Yeah, and like I said, it was fun to kind of go back and remember how horrible it was in the before times. And it gives you a real appreciation for how the game is now. Yeah, I mean, I got in right before the first expansion came out. And yeah, a lot's changed since then. That's all I can really say. But it's cool that they're doing it. I'll give them that.
Yeah,
It'll be interesting to see how it takes off and how well it's supported. Because as far as I know, they're basically going to be supporting whole new servers. So
yeah,
it'll be interesting to see how much resource they want to devote to this.
I would assume they have at least to start off a good number.
Yeah,
but then it'll die off like
didn't-
everything else, and then they'll.
or not. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, they didn't announce a hard release date for it yet, but they just said summer 2019. So.
Now, what exactly is the vanilla part? Is it just the graphics, or is it just the original content?
Everything. Yeah, old graphics. Like old character models at least. I would assume that I don't think they really up-res any of the the environment textures on the main continents. As far as I know, it's just character models, maybe some spell effects. They did retool some of the animations in later more recent patches, so those might be rolled back.
Yeah.
But yeah, all the features, at least off the top, maybe it's just because Hunter was the first class I played. That's the only one I remember the most from. But you have to have ammo for your weapons. There's a minimum engagement distance, so you can't, be face to face with an enemy and still shoot them with your bow. You have to feed your pet or they'll run away and leave you. So yeah, just a bunch of stuff like that. I do think one of the things that I think they are keeping is the group finder, which kind of made it easier to group up with random people for dungeons and raid stuff. I want to say that they're bringing that over.
Well, that's good.
Which is understandable because it would actually be hard to see some of that content unless you already had a dedicated group to roll with. So it'll be good to include that.
Now, did you say whether it's just the original game or the expansions included with that?
It is only original game. So I think they gave a patch number actually. I don't remember the patch number, but it's like a couple of patches before Burning Crusade came out, I think is what they're targeting.
So I feel like that could be a downside then, especially for longevity.
I mean, maybe.
Because some people are going to play that game nonstop when it comes out, and they're going to, I mean, not burn through it, but they won't.
I mean, it'll be because people will probably be playing both. So yeah, I mean, I would say that maybe they'll do this with the other expansions, but at that point you're just remaking WoW.
Yeah.
So I don't really see them doing that. But yeah, I don't know.
I would like to see them eventually add the expansions into that. Kind of like a what if this never happened type deal,
So you're saying the
Like-
old, like, did basically just keep the old features with the new
You know,
expansions.
yeah, like the new
Yeah.
areas, the new
But have
races.
vanilla features.
Yeah, kind of like a what if this was
Sure,
never
yeah.
changed or upgraded. I think that'd be
Yeah,
kind of
I-
cool.
My whole thing with this is like, they made the changes for a reason.
Right.
So yeah, it's definitely a weird thing. Like I said, it's cool they're doing it, but it's a weird thing for sure.
I mean, I don't plan on going and playing vanilla WoW instead of not
No, like I said,
ever playing
I'll-
the new WoW because
Yeah, I'll dabble with it here and there, but
I just want to experience for a little bit what the original game was like so I can kind of see
Sure,
what it was
yeah,
like
yeah.
and what it's become.
not getting your mount to level 40
Yeah.
and having,
it's-
I'm pretty sure mounts are also like, the training was 1,000 gold, and then the mounts were a couple hundred, and you get a lot more money now than you used to. It took a long time to be able to afford your mount.
I'm excited. I don't want to talk about the whole mount thing because that's going to frustrate me, but I'm excited to at least get a shot to try what the game used to be like.
Yeah, it's a cool thing.
So, anything else from BlizzCon you could think of?
I think the only other thing, Warcraft 3 is gonna remaster finally.
Yes, I did see that. I'm excited about that because I never played that either.
Yeah, me neither. I had always wanted to get it, but then I knew they were gonna make this at some point. It's just a matter of when. It's like I don't really want to buy it twice. But yeah, Warcraft 3 is finally getting a remaster. It looks great.
Yeah, I
They
saw the
showed some of
comparison between the original and
Yeah,
the new one.
Yeah,
It looks amazing.
It looks really good.
Did they give a release
Yeah.
date?
Just 2019. That's all they said. Just a year. So I
it'll
would
probably be later.
I would assume probably fall, maybe, if I had to guess.
It's such an exciting time for the gaming community. We're getting all these remasters.
In good remasters, like
Yeah.
things that are worth going back to.
Games that I either didn't play or don't remember playing back in the day that I don't
Right.
want to go back and play now because the graphics are so bad or so different.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad to see the gaming community, especially Blizzard, because I never really played them when I was younger.
Yeah,
To going back and remastering a lot of their games.
totally.
All right, so December 6th, which is a Thursday, if I'm not mistaken. Pretty sure it's a Thursday. Thursday, December 6th is the 2018 Game Awards show. And the nominees were announced this morning, which...
A few moments later.
I'm back.
All right. So the awards were announced today. I was expecting it to be tonight, but you informed me that it came out a little early.
I did.
So I just want to talk about some of the big categories that are coming out for this year.
Well, let's have how we start small and work our way up.
All right. We'll start with some of the small ones. We're not going to go over them all. We can go over them next week in depth because some of them are pretty unimportant.
I don't know.
Not unimportant, but less interesting to some of us. Big one for me, and I know you will enjoy this. The Cloud9 comeback win in triple overtime versus FaZe is nominated for best esports moment.
That's
I don't know
definitely your realm.
Oh, that is! I was so excited to watch that. I watched that live. It was insane.
I hadn't actually looked through this entire list. There are some weird categories.
Oh yeah,
Best esports event.
yeah. I mean, that's a new one. I was not there last year. That one right there is new.
Best esports coach.
Yeah, that one's new too.
All right. Well, you gotta have something to fill out these awards.
Let's see.
I mean, really, these awards are mainly just another stage for developers to make announcements. So they need something to pad it out to get more announcements out there.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I'm glad that somebody's doing this. I'm glad that they're officially making this like, the Oscars or the Emmys. They're making this, giving video games a bigger platform. So I'm glad Jeff Keighley is doing this. Glad he's organizing this. Like best esports game. We
Is that
have
a category.
Yep. We have Overwatch,
Okay, yeah.
League of Legends, Fortnite, Dota 2, and CS:GO.
Oh, it's gonna be Fortnite.
Unfortunately, I think it will be. Even though, have you ever watched competitive
No.
Fortnite? It's
No.
terrible.
I have no desire to. Yeah.
Basically, what they do is they get in squads, and they're duos and squads, and the two guys split up, and whoever gets the most kills gets the most points and moves on.
Hmm.
It's terrible to
Yeah.
watch. It's so unentertaining because I don't want to see the two best Fortnite players on different teams but in the same squad. I want to see them fighting each other.
I mean, like, I know it's super hot right now. But I don't think Battle Royale really lends itself to esports very well at all. It's a very different type of game. Like,
See,
if
PUBG
you're
esports,
out
though.
to win, it's a very slow game.
Yes, it can
And
be.
Yeah, I don't think it lends. Not like some of these other games. Like, I mean, you know, Dota 2 are arguably the biggest esport right now. League of Legends is still pretty high up there. However, I think Dota 2 has taken over a little bit not in terms of player base, but in terms of, viewership. CS:GO, probably the biggest first person shooter in the world, if not, you know,
Oh, easily. I think so.
just in esports. Overwatch, relatively new, but very popular game, and Blizzard has been doing a lot to foster that community. So yeah, I mean, next to these other ones, Fortnite is really just you know, this is really popular this year. We should put this on here, kind of thing.
Yeah, pretty much. And it's not even. There's not like. They've had the biggest events because they had a big tournament at E3 and PAX and all that other stuff. But
Yeah,
PUBG esports is actually more fun to me to watch than Fortnite because they actually squad up. They don't do like duos, and they actually squad up, and whatever place you finish, you get the points.
Oh, okay. I misunderstood. Wait, okay, so am I to understand that two players that are completely unrelated and have never necessarily played together before are put on the same team, but they are still competing?
Yes. So there'll be 4 players in the squad, and they're split up in duos.
Okay.
And they go off to get
This already sounds terrible and confusing.
and they play against just random people on servers. Generally, most of the tournaments in the big LANs, they play against each other. But like in the big weekly tournaments and stuff, they actually play against just random people in the servers.
That's really weird.
Yeah, it's terrible to watch.
Huh. Yeah, that okay.
So PUBG, they actually get in squads or duos.
Right, it's a more traditional competitive experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Fortnite esports is terrible for me to watch.
Weird. Well,
yeah. And Call of Duty is doing the same thing with their tournaments.
Oh, really? Huh.
Yeah. So, best multiplayer game for outstanding online multiplayer gameplay and design, including co-op and massive multiplayer experiences. We have Sea of Thieves, Monster Hunter, Fortnite, Destiny 2, and Call of Duty Black Ops 4. This one, I actually think it could be a toss-up between Black Ops 4 and Fortnite.
I can see it.
Because Black Ops 4 has really put a dent in Fortnite's viewership, at least on Twitch recently.
Yeah, this actually seems to be the first Call of Duty in a while. Like, I want to say probably since maybe Advanced Warfare, if not whatever came before Advanced Warfare. It's been so long. It was Ghost before? Was it Ghosts?
Ghosts,
All
yeah.
right. Well, maybe Black Ops 2 then. But yeah, this I think is the first Call of Duty that's really, hit a lot of people. Like I'm not gonna say they've found it again, but they have definitely, brought a lot of people back, I think, with 4. And I don't know why. Because I mean, like, I love it. I love Call of Duty 4, but to me it's it's Call of Duty. But yeah, they've seemed to have just found the right formula to bring people back. So yeah, I could definitely see that one winning.
I think people are built off the hype that there's no jetpacks anymore.
That too.
I
Yeah.
think people were quite upset with that.
Boots on the ground.
And then we have best racing game. Kind of interesting. Oh, you'll enjoy this. Best strategy game. The Banner Saga 3.
Can we back up for a second?
The what?
Are there just not that many sports and racing games that they've actually felt the need to combine those two categories?
I do notice that there's Madden's not on here.
Interesting.
Maybe because Madden, this year's Madden is complete junk.
I'm just not sure how you compare Forza Horizon 4 and Mario Tennis Aces.
Well, because the Forza competitive is a lot like, just like competitive racing is technically a sport.
I guess.
It's just motorsports.
Oh, however, I did also just realize that Forza is the only racing game on there.
Yep. Forza is the only racing game on there.
Weird. It's a weird category.
Makes me happy that nobody nominated Madden because it's junk. So I'm glad they didn't nominate it just because it's the only football game out there.
Anyway, all right. So we're strategy.
But I see Forza Horizon 4 winning that one. Best strategy game.
That's another game. Yeah, that's another game that kind of they seem to bring people back.
The Banner Saga 3, BattleTech, Frostpunk, Into the Breach, and Valkyria Chronicles 4. I know you played at least 2 of those. I played a little bit of Frostpunk. I wasn't all that impressed with it.
I think we might have different lists.
Best strategy game?
I don't see that. I don't have that one on my list.
It was right above esports.
Best esports game?
Best esports racing game.
I
It
don't
was
have that
right.
either.
It was right above it. It's towards the bottom.
I don't have that.
Well, what the
We
hell?
have different lists. I don't know. Where'd you get your list from?
TheGameAwards.com/awards.
Oh, there's the problem. But yeah, go after the list one time. All I heard is BattleTech.
Valkyria Chronicles 4, Into the Breach, Frostpunk,
Yes. Ooh.
BattleTech, and the Banner Saga 3.
All right. Yeah. Yeah, I played BattleTech and Into the Breach. Been meaning to check out Valkyria Chronicles 4. Valkyria Chronicles always looked really interesting to me. It's an interesting concept. Not sure exactly what the gameplay is, but a anime World War II. At least that's what the old ones used to be.
It's like an altered version of World War II.
Yeah.
I mean, I played Frostpunk. I was not all that impressed with it. There's not that much variety to it. You're kind of just looking over the same area the entire time. BattleTech, I haven't played it, but I've watched you play it on your stream, and it looks entertaining.
It's entertaining, however, it does have some kinks. And if you're not super into the franchise, it doesn't really do a whole lot. I would give this Into the Breach 100%. Super simple but super complex game. Definitely actually one of my favorite games of this year.
And it's on the
for sure.
Switch.
It is on the Switch. I have been trying to refrain from buying it on the Switch.
So I would probably guess that, yeah, I would agree with you that Into the Breach is probably going to win that one.
Yeah.
Just simply because it's on more systems, so more people have played it. Best family game. I mean, that can go any way. Best fighting game.
Yeah.
Best fighting game. I haven't played any of these this year.
Yeah. The problem with fighting games is I always get into them too late. Like I want to get into Dragon Ball, but at this point, all the people that are still playing Dragon Ball are already way better than I will ever be.
And then Soul Calibur 4 just came out, so I don't.
6.
Or 6, yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, my bad. I misspoke. It just came out, what, like a week ago?
2
weeks ago?
2 weeks ago, I think. Yeah.
How can you be nominated for best fighting game if you've just been out 2 weeks?
I mean,
Or the
word of mouth. Because after 2, 2 is the last one that I really played a lot, and got super into Soul Calibur 2. But after that, they just kind of started going downhill, and this is from what I've heard anyway. I have not played it yet. From what I've heard and from what I've seen, it's Soul Calibur's good again. I mean, to be fair, Street Fighter V Arcade, that's a re-release of Street Fighter V.
Yeah.
So
What is this next category?
I can see Dragon Ball also winning it.
I would
honestly.
assume that would win that just because of it's Dragon Ball. Just off its name.
Like, and it's actually supposedly one of the best fighters out on the circuit right now. It's huge in competitive scene, which is really again, it's Dragon Ball, which has in the past been a very niche, property, whereas now it's just totally mainstream, and they've been supporting it really well. So,
Yeah, I would agree with you that that one's probably going to go to Dragon Ball. We have best role-playing game. Dragon Quest: Echoes of an Elusive Age,
I have not played. I only played one of these.
Monster
so I
Hunter
can't
World,
speak to this one.
Octopath Traveler, Pillars of Eternity. This one, I really hope that Octopath Traveler gets it.
Yeah, the game looks really cool.
It is extremely cool.
It has a nice art style.
It's a great art style, an interesting combat, an interesting story. And I played the living crap out of Monster Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
But I was more interested with Octopath Traveler from the moment I watched the first gameplay and actually played it. It is a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say that overall, it's a more polished game than Monster Hunter World.
Yeah, well, I mean, Monster Hunter has always been extremely archaic. But like, I mean, this is kind of turned into a theme, but this year seems to have been a resurgence for a lot of games. Monster Hunter World is another game that came out and really pulled in a lot of new people.
It's because they first finally released on a console.
Well, that, and they just made it much more accessible. Like there's still a lot of archaic systems in there, but they're not as bad as they used to be.
Now, for the ones that are going to get a lot of controversy and discussion about, best action adventure game: Assassin's Creed Odyssey, God of War, Marvel Spider-Man, Red Dead Redemption 2, and Shadow of the Tomb Raider. We could really have this discussion about this and Game of the Year because they're essentially the same games. It's going to be between God of War, Spider-Man, and RDR2.
Actually, isn't that the same? Trying to go all the way back up the top. Okay, Celeste is the only one.
Yeah, Celeste is the only one that's not on that list.
I'm kind of jumping the gun here, but
this discussion that we could have right now could literally cover like 3 of the categories.
Yes.
And I don't know which one to choose. I've thoroughly enjoyed all 3 of them. I think it's going to come down to a lot of preference. Spider-Man, God of War, and Red Dead.
Yeah.
They're all fantastic games.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of wish that they had some kind of just like not justification, but I want to see the reasoning why something like Odyssey and Tomb Raider are on here.
These are the other big AAA games.
I guess, but like unlike the other 3, they're very much more of the same.
Yes.
Whereas the other 3, Red Dead more so or less so. They all like took what made their predecessors, or I guess in Spider-Man's case, the action beat 'em up genre. They took what made those great and then refined them, and particularly in God of War's case, completely revamped them into something new that just worked.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's also been what, 10 years since the previous ones were released? I mean, when was God of War? It wasn't God of War 3, wasn't the last one. There was one in between.
Well, as far as most people are concerned, God of War 3 was the last one. There was Ascension afterwards in 2013. God of War 3 was 2010.
So it's been 8 years. And when was The last Spider-Man game, that was on what, GameCube? PS3
Uh,
maybe?
Was there a Spider-Man 3? Or did they stop at 2?
I don't remember.
I want to say they stopped at 2, but that was PS2.
But either way, my point is that there's been so many games, or there's been so many years since these games had an updated
there
version.
was a Spider-Man game like 2 years ago. Web of Shadows, I think it was called, which was supposedly decent, but nowhere's near the level of polish that this one was.
Yeah. I mean, these games had so much hype behind them, and they actually turned out to be fantastic and I think they lived up to the hype.
Absolutely, yeah.
I think very rarely games live up to the hype, but those two games absolutely did. And so did Red Dead Redemption.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know which one to choose. I mean, it's a coin toss, a 3-sided coin toss for me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm basically just between God of War and Spider-Man personally.
God of War and Spider-Man, huh?
Yeah.
Not even gonna look at Red Dead?
I mean, it's a great game. It's beautiful. But like, I hesitate to call games perfect, but off the top of my head, I can't. Like, this is actually where I might give it to God of War. I can't think of anything off the top of my head that I didn't like about it. Red Dead, it's huge world, it's huge clockwork world, but a lot of things you come across are very repetitive. Some of the systems are a little clunky. The movement isn't great. Like, I mean, that's all Rockstar games, honestly. It's not a deal breaker or anything. In Spider-Man, combat can get a little. The combat is fun. I love it, but again,
It can get a little repetitive.
repetitive.
Yeah.
The side activities also repetitive. I still haven't finished my 100% run. But God of War, like, I can't really think of anything I didn't like. That was a wonderful experience all the way through. I'm actually kind of sad I haven't been able to go get back to it yet. I beat the main story and then put it down. I didn't go back to it. But I think next game drought, I'm probably gonna crack back into that.
And I think another thing, at least for me, that drew me into God of War so much was Christopher Judge.
It drew you away, or
drew me into it.
Okay, sure, yeah.
Christopher Judge.
He was different. He was a good replacement for
absolutely.
Is it T.C. Carlson?
I don't remember who the original God of War was.
Original Kratos. Yeah, actually, when they first did the first reveal trailer, I actually didn't realize it was a different voice actor.
Really?
Like, it sounded a little bit different, but I thought that was just the same actor doing a different voice because Kratos is supposed to be a lot older now. Well, as much as he can age.
Right.
But yeah, he nailed the feel and tone of Kratos so well. But still, like, in the old God of War games, Kratos is just a rampaging, testosterone-filled murder machine. Whereas this one, they make him more human.
That's because he's older and is more human.
Yeah, and yeah, like, it's there's so many good things I could say about God of War. It's a great game.
Yeah, I could go on for days about things I liked. I like the boss fights.
Yeah, the fighting system, despite it, but like I said, I would almost say that God of War almost defied expectations, because it was such a different thing compared to the older games.
And I think a lot of people were worried with the new camera angle and all the new combat system.
People didn't know how it would work, if it would be too slow. But no, combat feels great. It's still it's deliberate in the way that, like, a lot of people liken it to things like Dark Souls and Bloodborne.
Yeah, sort of. I can see that. I guess
it is very much like but it's slightly faster than that. But at the same time, the movements are very deliberate, and there's more tactics involved. Whereas the old God of War games, you just mash square and X the whole time, and you can kill just about everything. Whereas this one, there's counters, blocks, dodges, etc. They just make the combat feel really good.
This category,
yeah.
this next category makes me extremely happy. Best performance.
All right.
Best performance.
I-
Christopher Judge as Kratos. Melissa Anthi Mahout as Cassandra.
Mhm.
Roger Clark. I mean, it's going to be a toss-up between those two. Yuri Lowenthal, maybe. I could see.
I would actually give it to him
Lori?
personally.
Yuri?
Yeah.
Peter
He-
Parker, huh?
I mean,
He did sound like Peter
this-
Parker. He did do a good Peter Parker.
I mean, this is kind of a weird category because I would actually be curious to see kind of what they're judging this on, because to some extent this boils down to how the characters are written.
Yeah.
Because as far as writing goes,
But that would be true with the movie industry too, though.
sure, yeah, exactly. And yeah, with the combination of the writing and the delivery of the lines and the animation, and everything, I just think he nailed Peter Parker so well. Like just you know, a dude who's just trying to do right by his city, but has problems just like everyone else. Yeah, I loved his performance in Spider-Man.
Yeah,
I think that is what made that game for me.
I think all three of them did good. I would say Roger Clark as Arthur Morgan was probably the least impressive.
Yeah, he was doing a cowboy.
I think as a Stargate fanboy, I think Christopher Judge should win. But Yuri did a great Spider-Man.
I would not be against Christopher Judge winning that.
Let's see. But yeah, I think either Christopher Judge or Yuri should win that. I don't think something about Arthur Morgan himself didn't interest me. I think the Red Dead Redemption 2 is more so for me about the graphics and the gameplay and the story, but not Arthur.
I mean, I will say that I do like Arthur better than John in Red Dead 1.
Yeah.
Like Arthur is a simple man, but at the same time he is also deep and complex. So throughout the story you have a lot of moral quandaries, how you approach situations. Like you can go run around guns blazing murdering everybody, or you can help people. And actually linking this to Assassin's Creed, in Assassin's Creed, I have the same kind of things, but there's nothing really linking the character to those situations. Like there were a couple instances where I would be talking to someone in Assassin's Creed, and I would be really standoffish to them or insulting in some way, and they would address that situation in the moment, but then one or two lines later they would be talking and like that never happened. So that kind
Yeah.
of broke the immersion for me. Whereas with Red Dead, that connection is still very much there. In fact, so how whenever you're talking to people, you can either greet or antagonize them.
Yep.
Well, if you start off by doing one and then switch to the other, the lines will actually link up in a way that makes sense.
Right.
So you have that dynamic there. So it's so Arthur is, they have him come across as a very morally ambiguous person. And I think the performance shows that very well.
All right. Next, second to last one. We'll do this one because I kind of want your opinion on it, because I'm going I'm out of the box on this one. Best art direction.
Okay.
We got Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Yeah.
God of
Greece.
War. Octopath Traveler.
Greece. No, not Greece.
Red Dead Redemption 2. And Return of the Obra Dinn.
All right. So for that last one, I've not played that myself. But it is from the people who did Papers, Please.
Mm-hmm.
Which, if you're not familiar with, is it's been so long, but you're basically a not a customs agent, but you're basically working the not even an immigrant station, but you're basically responsible for people coming into the country. And you have to make decisions on whether or not to let them in based on information you get about them and stuff. And Return of the Obra Dinn, I have not played it, but from what I heard, you're basically solving a murder mystery through first person flashbacks.
Right.
And it's an interesting art style. It's very simple, but at the same time,
It's different.
Different. Yeah, absolutely.
It's very different. I've never seen a game like that.
Yeah.
Or not many games like that.
Octopath, you've played that more than I have.
Yep. And that's what that's what I'm gonna vote for.
Yeah, it's definitely a gorgeous looking game. Very, really nice hand drawn almost art style.
Yeah. And it's not an art style that is very popular in the West. But this game has been very popular in the West, and it's because they take a little bit of a twist to it because it's a little more less anime, more hand drawn than more anime.
Okay, yeah.
And I think that is such a cool art style that God of War, RDR2, and Assassin's Creed, they're just more of like, the best graphics possible. It's kind of they look good, but it's kind of they're kind of the same in a weird way. Like they're just trying to be as graphically pleasing as possible, as graphically accurate. Where Octopath Traveler actually goes out of the box with its art style, and I think that's why I'm going to vote for it as the best art direction.
I mean, Octopath, like, it's... Excuse me. It's just not something you see a lot anymore. But it is very much, Super Nintendo style RPG with like a little bit of 3D mixed in there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, personally, I would have to say God of War again, just because, like, old God of Wars were in Greece, and Greece has also been explored a bunch in film and TV and stuff like that. And they went to the more Norse mythology type stuff, and they brought in a lot of things from Norse mythology, and I think represented them in a really good way. It's like like you said, the boss designs, the creature design, stuff like that. And I mean, even his weapon, like it getting rid of the iconic wrist chain blades was probably a really hard decision for them, but I think they pull it off extremely well.
Yeah, the axe was definitely a different type of combat. It was not what I was expecting in God of War, but it definitely works out well, especially with the Norse mythology theme, which I'm a big Viking fan, so I love that game. And I loved using an axe. But it was definitely a change from the normal God of War.
Like you said, it is mainly just a extremely beautiful and well crafted game. I think it could be a toss up between either of those for different reasons.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, to me, Red Dead Redemption 2, God of War, and Assassin's Creed are all just basically as realistic as you can get looking. While Octopath Traveler actually takes a different approach to graphics, and it works out well. So that's what I'm going to vote for is Octopath Traveler. You're obviously going to vote for God of War. So Game of the Year, God of War?
I would say so.
I think it's going to be God of War.
But for me, it'd be between God of War and Spider-Man. But yeah, for reasons I said before, I'd have to say God of War for sure.
Yeah, I feel like the Spider-Man hype died out faster than the God of War hype did, and I think more people were surprised by God of War.
Yeah,
but I think God of War is going to be the Game of the Year. I think Spider-Man 2 will be second, and then Red Dead Redemption 2 will be third, just simply because it just came out, and there's a lot of people that haven't played it yet.
So I've not actually played Celeste yet, but it's definitely something that sounds interesting. And actually, I might dig into that a little bit.
I was surprised at how many categories it's in.
Yeah, it's as far as indie games go, it's definitely up there.
I mean, it's in almost every major category that it could be in.
Yeah.
And I'd never really paid too much attention to it until recently, actually.
Yeah, I'm just looking through some of these other categories.
This could be an interesting one. Best game direction.
Yeah, I saw that earlier. I'm not really sure what that.
Awarded to a game studio for outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction and design. And all these other ones on this thing. Spider-Man, God of War, obviously. But then Detroit Become Human and A Way Out.
Well, right off the bat, I don't see Detroit winning.
No.
Because it's another one of those.
But based on, basically 3 single-player games, where A Way Out actually adds a very interesting co-op experience to its gameplay. Have you seen anything about the Way Out and its co-op?
Yeah, it seems really cool.
I'm gonna vote for that. Just simply,
it's definitely it's different.
How it adds that experience to the game, and apparently the story is really good.
Yeah,
I didn't find it all that interesting until the very end, but the co-op, its gameplay itself is very interesting. How they implemented it. So I'm gonna vote for that one. But that's pretty much all the categories that I really wanted to go over.
Yeah, those are all the big ones.
Best ongoing game, like most of these games, I don't care about anymore. Destiny 2, Fortnite, No Man's Sky. Overwatch is probably going to win that one. Or Rainbow Six Siege. Rainbow Six Siege just had a big comeback this year.
Yeah, Rainbow Six Siege blew up in a big way.
A lot of it's due to its co-ops or the competitive scene. But I would probably say Overwatch is going to take that one.
Or Fortnite, just because it's Fortnite.
Oh God, I don't want Fortnite to win anything. I'm so sick of that game.
Well, it's gonna be around for a while.
I hope not. It started to die off, but so is Black Ops. So we'll see. Anything else you want to cover?
Oh, I think that's it. That's a lot going on in video games. Getting to be the end of the year, so all the big stuff is wrapping up.
Yep.
And then we're gonna do it all again in January.
I have my Red Dead Redemption 2 review coming out within the next couple of days. I have my what other game? Oh, Battlefield 5. That review will be coming out probably end of next week. I'm hoping end of next week.
Yeah, I'll be working through Hitman. Get a review up of that, and then I plan on I'll be putting videos up of. I'm gonna try to make a series out of it. All the elusive targets, win or lose. I'll be trying those out. So.
And where are you gonna put those up at?
They will either be on my Twitch channel at Chimp Flimper Jr. Or on the website, or both. We'll see.
Okay. Maybe we could get those up on the YouTube channel too.
Yeah.
Everywhere. In a little series. Yeah, we'll be everywhere.
All the places.
So I'm gonna try to do a video review for both Red Dead Redemption 2 and Battlefield 5, as well as a written article on our website, www.retekreviews.com. You can join me on my Twitch channel. I stream pretty much every night. Hopefully we can keep this show going weekly.
Yeah.
Once we get things sorted out, created, stuff like that. But so that'll be one night I don't stream. But other than that, I pretty much stream every night. So my Twitch channel's right down there. And Reapers or Chimp Flipper Jr., whatever he goes by right now. Chimp Flipper Jr. is what he's going by, all right? His is right down there, as well as my Twitter and his Twitter. And you can follow the at the ReTek Reviews, Twitter at ReTek Reviews, for the latest updates, because I know we both post articles pretty much daily, between news, reviews. Yeah, so there's always something to read, check out. But I have nothing else. I'm ready to call it quits.
I'm good.
All right, so I appreciate everybody hanging out. Make sure you all follow our social medias. You can find all the links down below. YouTube channel for all of his upcoming Hitman 2 Elusive Target videos. Maybe an Xbox One X review if it's thrown in there somewhere, if I can actually get around to it. But I appreciate everybody hanging out. Appreciate you watching. Make sure you go vote for the Game Awards before December 6th at www.thegameawards.com/awards. So vote.
Somewhere.
What?
I don't know if you have a link somewhere.
Oh, no, I don't have a link. I will.
Okay.
I'll put that in for next week. But appreciate everybody hanging out. We will see you all tomorrow or next week, I guess. Huh? Not tomorrow.
We'll be around. We're everywhere. Don't worry.
Follow us.